Hello, it's Crypto CJ. It's the trade of the day, Monday night slash Tuesday morning Zoom edition, depending on where in the world you are. And the markets have held up pretty well. A little bit of a dip yesterday, but then a pretty quick recovery. Bitcoin's hanging around 95K, Ethereum at 1800. Again, not at the all-time highs, but gradually working their way back after a series of dips in the last 4 to 6 weeks. Let's look at the charts. Okay, should be seeing my Bitcoin day chart. And I'll assume that's a yes. So, yeah, we had the nice bump that we
Yes.
talked about. Thank you. That we talked about on Thursday night, and then mostly sideways since then. But we're right at 95K, and I think 96 is considered resistance. Looks like it, maybe
Just
97.
trying to figure
And
out what that card's attached to.
okay, now I got some background noise. Yeah, mute all. Okay, yes. Okay, back to the Bitcoin chart. Trending up slightly, mostly green candles last week, and we're above the moving averages, all of them on the day chart, the 20, 50, and 200. So that's a good sign. Very bullish. On Ethereum is not yet recovered, though trending up slightly from its lows down in the 1400s, 1800 now. It's above the 20 EMA, but it's not broken the 50 or 200 yet. But generally speaking, trending up. And then I was on Twitter, now known as X, and looking at my favorite crypto cheerleader, Kyle Chassie's quotes and posts. And there's a few from my beloved home state, Arizona, passing a Bitcoin bill. Unfortunately, it's getting tangled up in some other legislation, probably won't pass due to budget issues. Looks like MasterCard's going to allow for stablecoin payments. And I always thought that would be a normal way for credit cards to go, is just accept stablecoins. Kyle says markets are waking up. This Bitcoin bull scores hit 60. That's bullish. And the USA is going to buy Bitcoin, possibly in the way of treasury bonds backed by Bitcoin. That would be interesting. And that would cause the government to buy Bitcoin as opposed to just collecting it from seizures. And those are the ones that caught my attention going back about 4 hours. So again, no earth-shattering news here, but generally the news is good, and hopefully it will continue to push Bitcoin back up to over 100K. Any questions or comments about the markets overall before we go to Altcoin Alert and iCoinPro to look for some day trades and swing trades? Well, I did get out of a couple of my swing trades, so the market's trending back up was useful in that regard. We'll see if some of you guys can as well. All right, let's head over to Altcoin Alert. And this is my setup here. Easy mode is off. I have the altcoin radar on. I'll renew, get the most current information. I actually set an alert on Bonk yesterday. I traded a little bit on the weekends due to some new things I'm testing. So you see Bonk here is number 2 at 81.0, up 10, almost 11% today. Bullish all over the place, fire on some of the other indicators. And I've got that one up on my day trading layout. This is the Coinbase chart on the 15-minute, which is my usual layout for day trading. I've Got the supply and demand visible range from Lux Algo, free indicator for support and resistance, red zone resistance, support, green zone. RTI, relative trend index for alerts and entries, and cumulative delta for trend-based trading confirmation. So at the moment, the RTI is between 50 and 80. Not ideal entry. Some of the past entries, what I do like are these dips below 20 that happened here on Saturday. Got a nice move up to about 4%, 5% before it dipped. Then another bounce up to 9%, another dip, and then a big move up 17%. So any of these exits would have been good for a day trade. On my day trades, I'm looking for a couple percent usually. I'm trading on a foreign exchange at 10x leverage. If you're new to this type of trading, be sure to stick with spot trading, probably on Coinbase or Kraken, and get those 2 to 5% moves. That will build your balance quickly. Okay, so to set an alert on Bonk to get the next dip below the 20, right click on the RTI, add an alert, choose crossing up, and you can go with either the 20 or the 50. I'd probably go with the 20. Once per bar close, add a custom name, AA score. Once you type something in a few times on TradingView, it remembers it. On notifications, notify an app on my smartphone, toast notification, a pop-up on my laptop, play a sound also on my laptop. And there's a few to choose from. And 3 notes reverb or chirpy or whatever you want. Click create, you're good to go. Shoot, I didn't mean to cancel that. I do my alerts a little differently. I'm going to trade both directions, long and short. So I'm going to be entering a channel, 80 on top, 20 on the bottom, and AA score. Everything else is the same though. And like 3 notes reverb a little better. Click create. And then that should show up over here on my alerts list. That's bonk as a day trade. As a swing, go to the hour chart, different layout. And I'm still using supply and demand visible range for support and resistance on a longer time scale on the 1 hour chart. But I've got the super trend for entries, very alert friendly, and Trendilo LSMA, which is a moving average indicator for confirmation. Ideally, I'd catch something like this or this, where the candles are coming out of the green zone, working their way back up. This one took a move, then actually this would have been a really good entry. 23% before it dipped. And then a big move here, 59%, and 60%. All these would have been great swing trades. Looking for 10 to 15% on my swing trades generally in a week or two. But I've been stuck in some, just starting to get out of them for a couple months instead of a couple weeks, but patience pays off sometimes. So to set an alert on Bonk, because we're a bit late, we're in the red zone now. We could look at some other longer time frames and see if those have better retrace potential. The 4 hour, we're at the top of the range of that one. 8 hour, same thing. Day chart. The day chart has plenty of room to move, but you're going to be in this for a while. If you got in now, It went to this resistance. That's over 70% in 117 days. Not bad. Not really the way I like to trade, but another resistance here at 124, and then the red zone about 134 up to 150. All these would be, excuse me, reasonable retrace options as take profits on the long-term swing trade. Or you could wait for the next cycle. So set an alert on your SuperTrend, right click. And if you want to trade both directions, you can keep the direction change. Select buy for the next long option and custom name, AA score. Notifications, you might want to choose a different sound for a swing trade. That way you just don't have to rush to implement it. Whereas day trades tend to be a little more time sensitive. I usually choose handbell for these trades. But I'm trying to get out of some swing trades, so I'm not going to take that one. You guys can if you want. Any questions on bonk as a day trade or swing trade? Okay, let's go to some other sorts on Altcoin Alert. And social activity sort I've been using more. Gonna match up fire and fire, or thumbs up and thumbs up, or thumbs up and fire. Casper, Monero. We looked at bonk, Dash, Nexo, Flare, Bat, Floki, IOTA. I usually look for something I know from this sort. Just have to work my way down sometimes. BNT, KDA, Say, Cake, World. All right, Komodo. So we can look at Say, SEI. I think that one's on Coinbase as well. Yes. There we go. 15-minute charts above the 80 at the moment. But the last time it dipped below 20, made a nice move. That happened here. Went up about 1%, dipped back down and took off, almost 10%. So that would have been a good trade. And then a better one would have been this entry here. So I think I like the 20 on this one. Right click on the RTI, set an alert. Crossing up on the 20. Or if you want to trade both directions like me, go with entering a channel, 80 on top, 20 on the bottom. Once per bar close, some social activity. Three notes reverb, there you go. As a swing, it kind of looks like the bonk coin we looked at a little while ago. 1 hour, we're at the top of the zone. 4 hours, same thing. 8 hours, a little more room to move. The red zone is about 30% in 60 days. Not thrilled about that. Day. If you're really patient, you can take this day chart situation, which goes up to 20 to 30% in 60 days. at this level of resistance. Again here, 50% 89 days. 98% 100 days. That's a little more like it, like to be at 1% a day. 113 and 115, and then 221 and 142. So this is, about half a year, give or take. So it's a pretty long trade, but again, those are good, reasonably good exit points for longer term swing trades. All right. So any questions on say as a day or swing trade? All right. Altcoin Alert. Let's look at 1 hour projected range. Been looking at this a little more lately. I haven't found many candidates. Chromia, which I kind of like, is a 2% average. Positive numbers on both upper and lower. Let's check that out. Was trading this one earlier in the year. Yeah, it looks like some of the others we looked at. When it dipped below the 20, made a pretty good move. Eventually, we had some fake outs here. So that would have crossed actually right about here, gone up a little bit, then kind of cratered. So, but eventually it catches this. And goes up, 6.5%. So that's a good day trade. So right click on the RTI, add an alert, go crossing up on the 20, or you can use my approach entering a channel, 80, 20, once per bar close. That was 1 hour. Go on Chromia. And let's look at the swing trade option, 1 hour chart. And top of the zone, these are starting to look the same. 4 hour chart, not much different. 8 hour chart, 19%, 35 days, not loving that. Day chart. Yeah, I would go with one of the others we looked at as opposed to this one, probably. But there is a pretty big move. Potential retrace 200% in 120 days. That's a good long-term swing. So if you're into that kind of trading, that might be the route to go. Okay. Any questions on Chromia? We're going through these pretty fast. So if I'm going too fast for you and you're not following something, then go ahead and speak up. We'll do one more, maybe two more on Altcoin Alert. Yeah, maybe two more. Let's see. Let's go with the short-term sentiment. We've only got 15 on that are bullish. Match that up with Elder Impulse hourly, which has 51 bullish. So let's see what we find for matches. And no matches. That's disappointing. Yeah, getting the short term to match the Elder Impulse hourly is kind of hit and miss. Much better luck with the long-term sentiment matches with the Elder Impulse daily. We've got Perp and Casper again. Rep. Secret XCM and Gala, which I kind of like. IOTax Quantum. Sui. Bat. Arweave. Kind of like Arweave up 8%. Yeah, let's look at that one. Okay. On the RTI chart, yeah, it kind of looks the same. Had this dip below the 20 and eventually climbed its way out, made a nice move here. And yeah, almost 8%. Really good day trade there in 5 hours. So that would have been a good one. So right click, go with entering a channel. Long term. And click create. Day trading alerts are lining up. Very good. Sneezy this morning. Okay, let's look at the swing trade. At the hour, like all the others, were at the top of the zone. Same with the 4 hour. 8 hour, a little bit room to move. Um, 18% in 50 days. Don't like that. And day trade or day chart has a lot of room to move. Yeah, 118 and 89 days. That I like. 168 and 115 and 271 and 144. But will it really do that? Time will tell. Okay, any questions on Arweaves, a day or swing trade? So that wraps up Altcoin Alert. Any questions or comments on that before we head over to iCoinPro? Okay. iCoinPro, home of the 123 dip, the inspiration from my RTI approach, which focuses on the 123 dip strategy on the 5-minute chart. I've been able to sort of duplicate that on the 15-minute chart with the RTI, which is more alert friendly. So you guys can choose either which way to find your day trades. At the moment, I'm using Buddy Coin Crawler to tell me what's moving today, though I had trouble loading this morning. So it was on Trade Finder, which I don't use really much at all. So I'm going through this sort on average low to SMA to find out what's moving that day. Look for values 4% and higher. There's a lot in the double digits. Some of these meme coins have been flying around. So I don't trade those. So I'm going to look for some stuff I've heard of, as StormX, Cream Finance, up near 8%. Komodo, not really seeing much. Celestia, I like Tia. I tend to swing trade that more. All right, let's look at that one. Look at the Coinbase chart. And it's had a couple dips in the 20s that really recovered nicely. This one here took off for 4% move. It's pretty good. And this dip in recovery did about the same, looks like. 3.5%, 4%. Pretty good day trade on TIA. So You can right click on the RTI and choose either the crossing up on the 20 or trade. Yeah, that's probably the one I'd go with, crossing up on the 20. Once per bar close. Buddy coin crawler. And yeah, so there's that alert. I probably just trade this on Coinbase as a spot trade. Let's check out the swing trade option. And yeah, everyone's looked this way. We've been in the zone, top of the zone on the 1 hour chart. A little more room to move on the 4. So yeah, to get this resistance area, 27%, 32 days. Not bad. So you can get in now, hold some funds back for other entries, or you can try to catch the next buy signal, next cycle. That's probably not going to happen for a day or two or longer. So any questions on Celestia as a day trade or swing trade? Let's see if we can find one more on iCoinPro, LTO, Bonk we looked at. Let's look at LTO. Is that on my list? Huh. Might be confusing this with something else, like LTC. That's Litecoin. Look on Blowfin, which you should be able to access without KYC. I haven't KYC'd on this one, so. Yeah, right at the 80 on the RTI, but kind of close to the green zone. So yeah, you might want to set your alert for either the 20, which did pretty well here. Yeah, I think I'd go with the 20 on this one. But I've shown you how to set the alert many times. So right click and crossing above the 20. If you want to trade it on leverage, then you can use the entering a channel option. As a swing, okay, it's got a little room to move. It's in the red zone now, but there's resistance above it. You know, here, 19% in 2 days. That's an awesome swing trade. But those might be outlier candles. So it's a little risky, but maybe go in small and hold some funds back for an additional purchase. But it's got potential. Okay, any questions on LTO? All right, anything on day trading, swing trading, Altcoin Alert, iCoinPro? All right, well, we wrap this up right at about a half an hour. That's pretty good. A few more people joined us since we started. Bill and Daryl, hello. And Isaac. Good to have you all aboard. If you're watching this on the recording, I appreciate that, though I'd rather see you live. Check out the opportunities in the pinned comment to help fund the channel. You guys have a good trading week, and I will most likely see you on Thursday night / Friday morning. Bye.